Jay, any indication of how much you're going to play the starters on Monday night? No.
I'm shooting for at least a quarter. See how it goes. A quarter.
And has anybody been ruled out other than, I would assume, Sharpton and Chris Thompson and maybe Merriweather?
Maybe Merriweather. I think he took the day off today. He just got his toe drained a little bit, but he's got a chance to play. We'll wait and see. And then, yes, Hatcher's out also, yes.
How'd the ice bucket feel?
It was nice. It's cold. It's for a good cause, so it's good.
Jay, the other day you said that game number 2 is the game where you start doing a little bit of game planning. When you had a chance to look at Johnny Manziel the other day, what did you see on film, and what do you guys need to do?
I haven't watched him yet. I'm going to start that today. Tomorrow we're going to start really trying to game plan. I know Coach Adlis watched him. I've been studying the other side of the ball a little bit more, so I'll check him out today. But I saw him on television and obviously studied him coming out, and know he's a very talented kid, a lot of mobility, no question about it, and a very exciting player.
David, what have you observed in Kirk Cousins, just the way that he goes about his job? Obviously, he knows he's not the starter, but just how he carries himself and prepares.
No, he's done great. Kirk's handled it like a pro. He understands the situation here. He understands it's Robert's job to lose right now, but he's still coming in here competing and battling every day. And that's what a quarterback does, whether you're the starter or not. You have to take advantage of the reps that you get, and they're few and far between sometimes. But I think he's done an excellent job. Him and Colt both have been great in the quarterback room. There's been no controversy whatsoever. It's just been business as usual, and they're all trying to get better and master this system. And he'll be ready when his time comes.
Now, there was chatter that he possibly could have been traded this offseason. You guys decided to hold on to him. What was it about him that you felt was valuable to keep here in the organization?
Well, he's a good quarterback, and you don't want to let quarterbacks out of your building if you don't have to. Obviously, there's circumstances that could change that, but right now we're happy with the quarterbacks we have, and there's no reason to change.
Jay, sticking with the quarterback theme, McCoy has basically 2 seasons of starting experience with the Browns, comes in here. What have you seen out of him, and how well has he handled the role that you guys have asked him to handle?
He's handled it excellent also. He gets less reps than Kirk, obviously, but he does a good job. He's got great command of the game. He's a very smart quarterback, very fundamentally sound. He's had great coaching throughout his career, obviously. He's got a great wealth of experience as far as some of the plays that we're running. He had some success and he's seen some of them, obviously, when he's played before, so he's a good tutor for Robert also. So to have a veteran quarterback like Colt who's gone through it, even though he's still 27, he's started some games and been through some ups and downs in his career, to offer any insight is also very good. But I also know that if need be, some teams have had to go to their third quarterback throughout the season. I feel good about Colt if he had to come in and play.
Jay, I know game planning is obviously limited, but a test against Mingo, who seems to be emerging, and Paul Kruger and Jabal Sheard, is that kind of an ideal test for you preseason game number 2 with the amount of snaps that Robert's going to want to play going against guys like that and having to get rid of the football things we talked about?
Yes, it is. I'm familiar with Cleveland's personnel on defense coming from Cincinnati, and then next week we have to play Baltimore, who I'm familiar with. So it's going to be 2 great tests for us from an offensive standpoint. And obviously defensively there's some elements that we also have to work on and be ready for, which is a good test for them too. So I think altogether, every team in the NFL gives you different problems, but Cleveland's defensive personnel is obviously very good. Joe Hayden and Buster Skrine and all those guys, and then Baltimore the following week. So we'll get a good taste for the next 2 weeks, see where we are and how far we have to go.
Jay, do you have any relationship with Mike Pettin? Both first-time head coaches here in the NFL. What's your relationship with him?
Not very. I talked to him at the Combine and that, just kind of acquaintances. I wouldn't say we're great friends, but I do know him and have a lot of respect for what he did at Buffalo and in his career, no question, with the Jets. So very familiar with him as a coach.
Sort of non-football related, your brother's going to be calling your first game as an NFL head coach. Have you had conversations like, go light on me, don't go so hard,
no.
Your critiques?
No, he called a couple of my games last year at Cincy, and John's John. He's going to be positive if he can, but if I do something that's out of line, ignorant, I'm sure he'll call me on it.
When does John actually come in? Does he come in and meet with you the way other analysts do?
I think he's coming in Saturday. Yeah, he'll be out here for practice Saturday, and we'll be able to hopefully go out to dinner maybe Saturday night, or I might be tied up, but I'll be able to see him Saturday.
Would he tell you some of the things he said about you on games from previous years?
I don't know. Yeah, no, he wouldn't. But, John's, obviously he's very good at what he does, and he won't jeopardize what he does for my feelings, that's for sure. He never has.
With the second game, and looking specifically at Robert, are you trying to build off some of the things you did with him last week, or are there some things you didn't get to that you want to put him in situations to see how he handles it? Are you looking that specific with him, or is it more just about the offense?
It's more about the offense and our flow and what we do. And if certain situations come up, then we got to handle them. Third and long, third and short, whatever they might be, red zone, goal line, short yardage. All those are very important for us to try to get a test on moving forward to the regular season. But if they don't come up, they don't come up. But hopefully we'll get them in the third game. But we're getting a lot of them out here at practice. We had a lot of them. The situations come up today. But in the game, with the substitutions, snap count, like I said yesterday, all those things are very important for the flow of the offense. And hopefully we'll get a lot of good looks from Cleveland, and Robert will get some challenging plays. I know he will.
Jay, in terms of David Amerson, he said it's kind of been night and day, his comfort within the defense from last year to now. Judging from what you saw on tape from last year to the way you see him play now, do you notice that as well?
I noticed, I obviously wasn't here, but watching him on tape, I see a different player. There's no question. And that happens a lot of times. You hope that happens with the rookies who are forced to play, that struggle, that the second year they come into their own a little bit and play with a little bit of confidence. And when you have more knowledge of the system, more knowledge of situations and who you're going against, the more confident you are at corner. And I feel that's what David's coming to. Now, he's just got to translate it on the field, and we'll see how he does. But he's definitely got all the tools of being a great corner. Now it's just a matter of going out and doing it. But you do see a different swag about him, like I said before, and he looks good to me right now.
You got a lot of tackling work in the first couple of weeks of camp, some live tackling. Is that something you're going to use off of now? Will you continue that into the season, or do you just kind of let the preseason games and the games?
Yeah, the preseason games will take care of it. Our live tackling days are done in practice anyway. We will still wear shoulder pads, and which is important for the offensive line, defensive linemen to get some of their stunts and blocking things picked up. So, but overall, the tackling days are over until the games start.
Yeah, going back to yesterday, you were talking about everything that Robert and all the quarterbacks need to learn. There are like several different things just involving the snap count even. I mean, how do you teach that to him? Do you throw it all at him at once and follow up on what doesn't stick? Do you kind of build one thing upon another? Or how do you go about doing all that?
You build it, gradually. You don't throw everything out there at once, but you build certain situations, certain tempos, from day one to day two to day three, you start to add a little bit more. And we're to a point now that we feel good about where we are as far as installation. Now we can start to tinker with different tempos, different snap counts, different formations, things of that nature, and just continue to grow your offense. You just can't throw it all at them day one. Otherwise, everybody will be swimming and nobody will know what to do. So you try to install it gradually, and as they master something, you challenge them again with something else. It's all about moving forward and seeing how much they learn, but also how much they can retain. And you don't want to add a lot of new things if they haven't retained the old stuff. So we kind of taper off depending on where we think they are mentally. And luckily for us, we got obviously good coaches, but the players have all done an excellent job of studying. We've had very few mental mistakes, so we're able to continue to add things, and that's a tribute to the players for picking everything up.
Coach, with Chris Thompson sitting out, what does that do for the other backs trying to make the team?
Gives them opportunity. It really does. Every rep that he doesn't take, somebody's going to take it. So, unfortunately for him, his ankle is, it's a sprain. It's high ankle, low ankle. I don't know where it is, but it's holding him out. It's unfortunate for him because he was doing a great job, but it does open up a window for other guys to perform, and we'll see what they do with it.
Coach, more of the second, third stringers, but and guys going through this for the first time, playing in the game, watching film, coming out to practice. Have you been pleased with the way they responded this week as far as getting ready?
Yeah, I have been very pleased. The tempo has been outstanding. Their attention to detail has been very good. Like I said, very few mental mistakes, and I think it looks sharp out there. The weather has something to do with it, too. But overall, I'm very happy with where we're going, both offensively and defensively, and then obviously the special teams are doing an excellent job, but we have to sort some things out there. But, it's all about installing your offense and defense and special teams, and also finding ways to evaluate the people that you have. And right now, all the players are making it very difficult on us because they're all performing pretty well. The competition's been excellent.
How are you feeling overall about your O-line and just the depth that you have on the team there?
We feel good about the depth. We got a lot of players to choose from, which is good. Now, the starters, we had to go out and perform. That was one of the Achilles heels, so to speak, last year from what I heard about coming in. From what you see on tape, you see some pressure. But I think Coach Furster's done a great job with them, and they've done a pretty good job. They've given up some pressure every now and then. We got some good pass rushers on the other side. We don't expect a clean pocket on every time we throw, but we do expect them to do a good job. We got good veteran leadership up there with Tyler and Chris, and obviously Trent Williams, Pro Bowl left tackle, and Corey's done a good job moving into center. So I feel good about where they are.
Another of my curious logistical questions. You've held early bird practices, but your games are late at night. Is that a logistical thing to adjust to for coaches?
No, I don't
players?
think so. I could be wrong. There's some people that think you should practice at night if you play at night, but most of our games are going to be at 1 o'clock anyway, and we'll be practicing in the afternoon later on. Once we start our normal schedule, we'll start practicing in the afternoon to get used to that, but I don't know. I don't think it'll be a difference. I hope.
Jay,
If
sorry.
we lose, I'm sure you'll point to that.
Now that you worked side by side with them for 7 months, can you give me one thing about Sean and one thing about Haz that kind of maybe surprised you that you weren't expecting, weren't thinking? I just got to write a little profile.
Well, nothing really, because part of the reason, they were brought back is because I know about them. I know about what Sean brings to the table. He's got great knowledge of the offense and what defenses we're going against, the personnel of our team, and not to mention the NFC East he's very familiar with. So nothing's really surprised me with Sean. Nothing. He's a very bright guy and works his tail off. He beats me in every morning and does a great job. And Coach Hazlitt, I don't really have a lot of negative things to say about him. I feel good about where he's at. He's been shaking a little bit the last couple of years. His defense hasn't been ranked as high as I'm sure he would like. But my job was to get him some more horses over there that he could work with and free him up and let him do his own thing and see where it goes. But I feel good about where he is. I feel good about his leadership that he has with the defense, how the players respond to his coaching. I think it's you can see it out there. The guys are flying around and they're buying into his system. So come game day, it's just a matter of rolling the ball out there, letting our guys play, and see where it goes.
Jay, just following up on Bashad from yesterday, you had talked about possible consequences or discipline, whatever. Have you guys settled on anything, or is there anything there?
No, we haven't. We talked about it with Bashard, but really, he feels bad about it, and we just got to move forward from that deal. And we already have. You just reminded me about it, but we moved forward from it. But he'll take care of his obligations with the law, and we'll move on.
Okay. On the new rules and the new points of emphasis, were they called about as you expected in the first preseason game, and are there any of them, I guess, particularly between the DBs and the receivers, that you've in meetings stressed or re-stressed or harped on looking to the next game?
We had a couple called against us. I think we had 3 called against us. One was a PI, and I think one was a legal contact from Compton. And those are great to show. And obviously the emphasis of the illegal contact, and we just have to continue to preach it out here, and we try to show our guys in practice when it happens, and just to beware. But they've been so engraved in their minds to try to jostle guys off and move receivers off their line and try to get them off their spot, that we have to be careful. And it's something we have to continue to coach and watch, because I know the NFL is watching, the referees are watching. There's a ton of penalties I noticed in week 1 of the preseason games, not in our game, but in the other games. So, just got to watch it.
Thanks, Coach.
Yep, thank you.